The life of a race driver would appear to be black and white. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But when things go wrong, it's a reminder that there's still lessons to be learned. Davey Allison's quest for the Winston Cup came crashing down 3 weeks ago at Pocono International. But true champions can reach down inside and find strength to keep going. We all know Davey Allison comes from good stock. Sometimes the blues come in many forms. Ernie Irvin's aggressive driving style left many wondering what he was trying to prove.
I've drove a little bit over aggressive some. I'm going to work on trying to be a little more patient and want to earn everybody's respect back.
The results speak for themselves. Irvin has transformed himself from beaten man to the man to beat. And he and crew chief Tony Glover will try to work their magic today at Watkins Glen. The world's leader in motorsports coverage presents Speed World. Today, live from Watkins Glen, New York, it's the Budweiser at the Glen NASCAR Winston Cup race. And the weather was okay until just a few minutes ago. We had heavy rain here overnight, and a brief shower passed over the speedway a few minutes ago, but NASCAR says that there should be no more rain the rest of the afternoon. Now, parts of the track are dry, parts of the track are wet, but it looks like we're going to be able to get started pretty much on time. A record crowd has turned out, nevertheless, to see the second and final road course race of the NASCAR 1992 season. The quest for the Cup standings. Davey Allison is back on top by a single point over Bill Elliott. But it's interesting to note that no driver in the top 5 has ever won here, and Alan Kulwicki and Harry Gant have never finished in the top 5. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bob Jenkins, and welcome to Watkins Glen. Now, Davey Allison is back on top of the point standings thanks to a third-place finish at Talladega a couple of weeks ago. Actually, the car was driven for most of the race by Bobby Hillin, a great performance by Bobby Hillin. Now, Davey Allison has relief help standing by for this event, too. And for more on that, let's go to pit road and Dr. Jerry Punch.
Thank you very much, Bob, and hello, everyone. And the big thing about Davey Allison today is he will start the race car. Now, we might mention what he's carrying in the car besides the normal equipment. Try 2 plates in his forearm, 21 screws, 4 pins in his hand, and yes, even a special wide receiver's NFL glove to try to change gears. But Davey is in the car and ready to go. And Davey, how do you feel?
Jerry, I feel pretty good right now. I've got a couple of sore spots, but nothing real major. We're going to run to the first caution and then turn this thing over to Dorsey.
A little bit of a secret now is how you're going to change gears. Show us that glove you figured out.
Well, it's the NFL wide receiver's glove. The guys down there at Health South Rehabilitation Department, they came up with the idea, and it seems to have a better feel to it than the Velcro we used at Talladega a couple weeks ago.
Well, Davey will be in the car until the first caution flag, and when he gets out, he will give way to a 2-time road racing champion, Dorsey Schrader. And Dorsey, a big opportunity for you, but a lot of pressure.
Wonderful opportunity. I got to thank Robert Yates and people from Ford for giving it to me. This is probably the best race car and definitely one of the best teams you could ever hope to drive for. The pressure is definitely on because I'm an experienced road race guy, and with a car like this, I should do awfully well. Our big concern is Davey. You know, his health, getting him out safe and me in and not losing a lap. If we can stay on the same lap, we're going to race him today.
And you've won here before, and you led here last year in a Winston Cup car that wasn't nearly this strong.
Absolutely right. We've been struggling a little bit with this car, getting it up to speed, but this is the best crew to take care of the situation, and I feel awful good today. I'd like to win this race.
Well, NASCAR's version of the Dream Team, the Oval Ace, Davey Allison, and the Road Racing Ace, Dorsey Schrader. Can they pull it off today? We'll find out in a few minutes. Bob?
Thank you, Jerry. Well, the 39 drivers that are about to start the 90-lap race will be competing on a slightly changed track. Since last year, it's been lengthened 0.3 of a mile due to the addition of the inner loop. It consists of 4 quick turns at the end of the backstretch near a historically difficult part of the track that's seen a lot of crashes and, of course, last year's fatality. While track president John Saunders says the change was contemplated many years ago to create a spectator area, we asked John if the changes were made in the interest of safety to slow speeds down before turn 5.
Not at the time. You know, there were some incidents in 1991, and as a result of some of the changes we've made out of there, some of the speeds have come down. But it was an area of the racetrack, given the infield roads for spectator access, the acquisition of the new land. It was an area of the racetrack that gave us the best opportunity at least expense to expand and bring more people to the Buttocks Glen.
Well, Ned Jarrett will be stationed just past the inner loop near what was turn number 5. That's now turn number 9. And Ned, I guess there's been mixed reaction on the part of drivers and crew chiefs.
Yes, there has, Bob. In fact, I think most of the crew chiefs like the fact that they put in the loop. The speeds, the top speed has been reduced some 7 or 8 miles an hour over what they used to come into these turns at. They used to go at about 175 miles an hour. Now they reach a peak of about 167. Now this has allowed the crew chiefs to readjust the gearing in the car to accommodate other parts of the track to utilize the maximum horsepower so that they don't over-rev the engines. Now from the driver's perspective, some of them are a little concerned because when they come up over the hill out of turn 4, they're on that turn before they realize it, and they can't identify where they need to make the right-hander into the loop. So that's a big concern of theirs. And then some of the drivers say, well, you know, you add more turns, then you create more places where you can have accidents. Well, the more optimistic ones will say, yeah, but it creates another place that you can set up a pass too. So, you know, it's hard to tell exactly how their feelings are, and they aren't going to know until this race is over. It takes about 3.5 seconds to go through that loop. In fact, it added almost 4 seconds to the lap speed here in qualifying. And you see those cones back there? Say, well, all that's holding the drivers back from coming straight through is those cones. Well, they can't do that because there's a NASCAR official stationed out here, and if they come straight through and pick up that 3.5 or 4 seconds, they'll be penalized a stop-and-go penalty, and they'll lose a lot more than they would gain by coming straight through. You say, well, okay, how about the last lap? Now, if they came straight through there, picked up 2 or 3 positions, got back to the start-finish line, be too late for a stop-and-go penalty. No, NASCAR's thought of that as well. It'll be a 30-second penalty. They'll just add 30 seconds onto their scorecard, let it fall where they will. So that'll hurt them a lot more than they'd pick up coming straight through there. You know, the jury is still out as far as what the loop will do to the racing here. A couple of drivers said you're going to see more spins and more actions in that loop than we ever saw in turn 5. One of them said, hey, I hope ESPN is ready for that action. I think we are. The track has something new, so do we. And Bob, you know, I might be more intrigued with watching our new innovation here than I will be watching the cars negotiate that loop.
Well, I know what you mean. That is the cable cam that you may have read about in USA Today, 1,000-foot-long mechanism. 2 individuals in the basket, one a driver, one a photographer. It can move up to 50 miles an hour. Cable cam developed by Crest Films Limited and Cable Cam Systems of Canada. And we hope that it will add to our coverage of that critical area, the inner loop, new here at Watkins Glen, and of course, so is the cable cam. Well, another critical area of the racetrack is turn 1 after they come off that long, fast main straightaway. Benny Parsons is going to be situated down there. Benny?
Bob, until just a few minutes ago, I had the most intriguing spot on the racetrack, turn 1. But the rain has stopped that because it's dry here. These fellows now are concerned about the back part of the racetrack where it's wet. But they're still going to start 39 cars. They're going to come down a very short straightaway, and they've got to funnel into one line as they go through turn 1. And if you get caught on the outside, you're liable to go off in the grass. It's really a very difficult corner the first lap. As the race wears on, it becomes an excellent place to pass because the cars only run 65 miles per hour through this corner. So if you can catch someone running, say, 63 miles per hour, you just simply drive up beside him, you try to outbrake him, and get on the inside. If he doesn't want to let you go by, believe me, he'll be out in the grass, and I'll be down talking to him, Bob. And, oh, I tell you what, John Kernan, are you at a pole sitter yet?
Yeah, Benny, I've made my way down to the front of the starting grid, and Dale Earnhardt. And Dale, you know, has had some tough times this summer. It's the worst slump he's ever had since joining the Richard Childress team. Went from 2nd in the points all the way back to 8th. Dale, I guess if you're going to turn a slump into a hot streak, no better place to start that than right here from the pole.
That's true. The guys did a super job with this car and the engine, and we're happy to be up here. We'll see if we can stay here for a while.
Now, you know, the slump and everything, a lot of rumors about where you might be going. You might be going off on yourself, but this week you say you and Childress are actually negotiating to extend your partnership.
Well, there's not much negotiation about it. It's just we're going to sign a longer contract with Goodwrench, and that's in the stages of being put together right now, and should have something to talk about here in a month or so.
That's Dale Earnhardt, your pole sitter. Now, you don't often think of him as a great road course racer, but listen to this, Bob. 16 top 5 finishes. One of the people to beat today.
Dale Earnhardt eligible for $30,400 in Unocal bonus money. However, the last time that a race was won from the pole here was way back in 1986. That was Tim Richmond. Stand by for NASCAR Winston Cup Racing. the Budweiser at the Glen. Our Speed World coverage being brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Quaker State, the Big Q is one tough motor oil. And by Autolite Spark Plugs, guaranteed for 2 years, no matter how far you go. While they're still trying to dry areas of the racetrack, we should get the race underway in just a few moments. We'll be right back.
Hi. You know why Quaker State asked me to be their spokesman? Because I'm tough. Quaker State is tough. Tough on wear and tough on sludge. If you use Quaker State in your new car's engine, they'll guarantee it for 250,000 miles or 10 years in writing. Quaker State is one tough motor oil. So naturally they asked me because I'm tough. You don't think it's because they think I'm oily?
A noble warrior advised, the art of protection springs from within. One must stay vigilant against one's unfragrant perspiration, lest one provoke a hostile response. Thus, a Norse ritual is Right Guard Sport Stick, an aromatic array of the freshest scents and maximum protection against disarming wetness. Confirming the wisdom, the best defense is not to offend. Right Guard Sport Stick. Anything less would be uncivilized.
Right now, every gallon of paint is on sale at Sears. Every interior, every exterior. Save 10 to 33% on Weather Beater, Easy Living, Dutch Boy, Olympic Stain, and more. But hurry, sale ends Saturday at Sears.
Well, the exciting Gillette Halfway Challenge is coming up in today's race. The driver leading at the halfway lap will win $10,000, and a fan at home, if you've already registered, will have a chance to win a beautiful Chevrolet Lumina Z34. If you'd like to enter our next contest for next Sunday's race at Michigan International, you have to be 18 years of age or older. Write to Gillette Halfway Challenge, Post Office Box 2246, St. Petersburg, Florida 33731. If your entry is selected and you are called at home, you will be able to name the driver who won the Gillette Halfway Challenge, and then you'll be eligible to win the Chevrolet Lumina Z34. Well, you can see the grid is ready to go, but the racetrack isn't quite. Here on the main straightaway, no rain. In fact, the track is dry. We didn't have much of a shower a few minutes ago, but back on the backside of the track, it is still quite wet. So the start of the race being delayed because of a little bit of inclement weather. It's a very challenging 11-turn course here at Watkins Glen, and here's a description with Benny and Ned.
Mark Martin goes by the start-finish line, following Rusty Wallace. This is a pit straight. Pit's on the right side. Now Mark Martin heavy braking as he downshifts to second. Then first, oh, Rusty Wallace goes off in the grass. Mark has to be very careful not to over-rev the engine as he accelerates his first. Second gear, start of the S's. A right-hander up the hill now to a left-hander. In third gear, he will go back to the right. This leads on to the long back straightaway. He will downshift to fourth gear and head towards Ned Jarrett up the back straightaway.
And Benny, this is the fastest part of the racetrack. He'll get up to about 167 miles an hour before he starts braking to go into the new inner loop here. A right-hander and then a little straight, left-hander and then back to the right. That's turns 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now back into what used to be turn 5. It is turn 9 now. And he accelerates through this long right-hand turn, headed over towards turn 10. Good long straightaway here. They can get some pretty good speed over through here as well before they get to number 10, which is a left-hand turn. And you can see the RPMs varying quite a bit. Now going through the left-hander, turn number 10, accelerates over towards number 11, relatively short straightaway, back to the right, which will send him to the start-finish line.
That is the new Watkins Glen International Raceway, on which the 39 drivers that are lined up on pit road will be competing in just a few moments. Well, let's check the die-hard starting lineup for today's Budweiser at the Glen. The pole sitter, as we indicated, is Dale Earnhardt in the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet, qualifying at 116.662. He drives the number 3 GM Goodwrench Chevy. Outside, Kyle Petty from Randall, North Carolina in the number 42 Mellow Yellow Pontiac, qualifying at 116.416. Starting third, hometown favorite Brett Bodine from Chemung, New York, the Quaker State Ford car number 26. And then road racing expert Ricky Rudd from Chesapeake, Virginia, driving the number 5 Tide Chevrolet. Mark Martin will go from fifth starting position in the Valvoline Ford car number 6. Alongside will be Bill Elliott driving the Budweiser Ford car number 11. Dale Jarrett has nailed down the 7th starting position. He's from Hickory, North Carolina, drives the number 18 Interstate Battery Chevrolet. And then Rusty Wallace from St. Louis, Missouri, driving the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac car number 2. Another local favorite, Jeff Bodine, starts from 9th starting position in the Motorcraft Ford car number 15. And then Ernie Irvin, the defending champion of this event. He also won here in a Busch Grand National race earlier in the year. He's driving the Kodak Film Chevrolet car number 4. Then comes current point leader Davey Allison from Hueytown, Alabama in the Hamilton Ford car number 28. And Wally Dallenbach Jr. from Basalt, Colorado in the Keystone Beer Ford car number 16. The rest of the starting lineup, Ken Schrader and Bobby Hillen will go from row number 9. The 10th row, Darrell Waltrip, who won last weekend on a road course at Topeka, Kansas, and Morgan Shepherd in car number 21. The 11th starting position, row number 11, Alan Kowicki and Richard Petty. 10th, Terry Labonte and Derek Cope. Starting in the 11th row will be Todd Bodine, as 3 Bodine brothers will go in today's race. Scott Sharp, the current SCCA Trans Am champion, starts outside row number 11. The 12th row has Ted Musgrave in car number 55 and Harry Gant in 33. The 13th row, Michael Waltrip in car 30, Hut Strickland in number 12. Row number 14, Rick Mast and Dave Marcus. The 15th row, Bobby Hamilton and Ed Faree. The 16th row, Sterling Marlin and Jimmy Hensley. The 17th row consists of Jerry O'Neill and Greg Sachs, who had an accident here during the practice and flipped his car over near turn number 2. Dick Trickle and Bob Shack hold down row number 18. The 19th row consists of Denny Wilson and Mike Potter, and all in row number 20 will be James Hilton driving car number 48. Well, we have a short delay here because of a shower that passed over the track a few minutes ago. They're trying to dry the track. We should be underway within a few minutes. In the meantime, we're going to come back with some interviews. There's the cable cam set to bring you the action today at Watkins Glen, New York.
A real sports coupe is more than fancy technology. It's the perfect balance between the needs of a driver and the needs of a curve. With a pure, focused performance that makes even the same old roads seem new. Because it's not the road you take, it's how you take the road. The all-new 24-valve Ford Probe GT. Have you driven a Ford lately?
People don't stay at La Quinta Inns just because of the free local calls. Although it's definitely a topic of conversation. Call 1-800-531-5900. La Quinta Inns, America's hotel value. This is La Quinta Inn's new money-saving super value rates coupon. If you can't find one, just tell them you saw it on TV. Call La Quinta and ask for the new super value rates from $34.50.
Get hooked every Saturday morning on ESPN Outdoors. It's an adventure you won't want to miss. Explore the world's best fishing holes and hunting grounds. Learn how the pros don't let the big one get away. Experience ESPN Outdoors every Saturday morning on ESPN.
You start it every morning. Start after start after start. When most of your oil is still down in a pad, you start metal-to-metal contact. You start engine wear. Now help stop it with the latest breakthrough from STP. New engine treatment. It bonds right to engine parts. Independent tests proved it. Just add a quart at your next oil change and help stop engine wear before you start with new STP engine treatment.
A lot of the fans who have come to Watkins Glen International this weekend are saluting King Richard Petty's final appearance here at this racetrack. The King in his farewell tour. We will all miss King Richard at the end of the 1992 season. Of course, as he comes on to the final races at particular tracks, his car leads the field and then will fall back into its assigned position. On road courses, King has 58 starts, 6 wins, 16 top 5s. His first STP win was at Riverside in 1972, and his last top 5 was at Riverside. He is a veteran of the road course. Here is this week's Petty Memory with Dr. Jerry Punch.
This Richard Petty Memory is brought to you by the new STP engine treatment. Help stop engine wear before you start. 1970 at Riverside, Richard Petty and Bobby Allison duel once again, this time with Allison spinning after starting from the pole. Petty takes the win, just one of 5 career victories at this road course facility.
I remember I won the race, and I remember that was the second race that I'd run after I dislocated my shoulder at Darlington in May. I remember racing with him because I think he went in the first corner and spun out or something. I just know that I wound up winning the race, and he was the one I raced with.
You start it every morning. Start after start after start. When most of your oil is still down in a pad, you start metal-to-metal contact. You start engine wear. Now help stop it with the latest breakthrough from STP. New engine treatment. It bonds right to engine parts. Independent tests proved it. Just add a quart at your next oil change and help stop engine wear before you start with new STP engine treatment.
He's Stock Car Racing's all-time winner. He's Stock Car Racing's all-time most popular driver. He's the king, Richard Petty. In this new ESPN home video, The Ride of a Lifetime, Richard Petty and STP, you'll have the chance to come along with me, Dr. Jerry Punch, for a personal visit to Richard's home, and we'll show you classic video footage of Richard's greatest moments. To get your copy, call 1-800-342-3400.
Richard Petty will be starting in 18th position here today at the Budweiser at the Glen, and NASCAR is telling us that we're less than 10 minutes away from the cars going on to the racetrack, so stay with us. The Budweiser at the Glen is always one of the most exciting races of the entire season. And Dr. Jerry Punch is down on pit road with Bill Elliott.
Thank you, Bob. Waiting very patiently inside the Budweiser Ford Thunderbird. And Bill, people may say that you're more of an oval track specialist, but let's remember you won your first race on a road course.
Well, I did actually at Riverside in '83, so I've run good on these places, but I've just never been quite there. And I think Sears Point back a month or so ago kind of redeemed myself a little bit. We ran awful well there. We ended up 5th, and hopefully today we can get a good run, a good solid run, to keep our nose in this championship deal.
How about the championship? Can you believe what Davey Allison was able to do at Talladega? I mean, barely able to get in the car, yet he's able to retake the lead by a point.
Well, the way the circumstances happened, it worked out well for him. And, there's nothing you can do about circumstances. I hated what happened to him at Pocono because it was just a bad deal. I mean, he had to race one and could really gain a lot of points on us, no better than we run that day. But for us, we just need to run better each and every race. And I think being the first year with this Junior Johnson Budweiser crew, that I think we've accomplished a lot.
Indeed they have, and they're hoping to be able to possibly retake that lead today as he will start that Budweiser T-Bird from the 6th starting spot. Bob?
Bill Elliott just a single point behind Davey Allison in the quest for the Cup standings. Well, we'll come back here in just a moment, and we'll talk with Ricky Rudd, who has mastered the road courses over the years. Can he win here today? We'll be back to talk with him in just a moment at Watkins Glen.
In the history of Winston Cup racing, there have only been 9 men who have captured the crown. They charge with passion, fury, and determination. Join these champions now as they celebrate the 20th anniversary of Winston Motorsports. Minted in fine silver, this official commemorative coin collection spans the entire history of the Winston Cup Series, from Petty in '71 to Earnhardt in '91. Each coin is beautifully embellished in their likeness with their winning years. Struck and hallmarked in 1 ounce of fine silver, serial numbered and registered in your name. Fans collect all 9 coins and receive this solid cherry display case of $50 value absolutely free. Each individual coin with your favorite champion is just $29.95. To order, call now 1-800-582-5100. Start your commemorative collection today for just $29.95. Fans, call now 1-800-582-5100.
Winston Cup Racing. It's been one heck of a ride.
Last year, Dale Jarrett edged out Davey Allison and set a record for the closest finish in NASCAR history. Who will take the checkered flag this year at the Champion Spark Plug 400? Find out Sunday afternoon live on ESPN.
We are back at Watkins Glen, and there is no precipitation on the windshield of Mark Martin's Valvoline Ford. The track is dry enough for high speed, and so finally we are about to go racing at the Budweiser at the Glen. It's been about a 3.5 hour, or even more than that, really, rain delay here as the Haviland crew waits on Davey Allison to take the green flag. Then he'll be coming in and getting the relief help from Dorsey Schrader. The field is now moving toward turn number 10, and this time around they will be getting the green flag. 90 laps of action here, the Budweiser at the Glen. The pole sitter is Dale Earnhardt. Alongside is Kyle Petty. And the pace car's lights are out as the field heads toward turn number 11. The pace car will dodge off to the right. The field will pass under the starter stand and get the green flag for the Budweiser at the Glen NASCAR Winston Cup race. Here they come out of turn number 11. Doyle Ford waves the green flag, and we are finally underway. There are still a few wet spots on the track, but it should be okay as they head for you, Benny.
Here coming down, Dale Earnhardt has the jump. Kyle Petty jumps in behind him, and Ricky Rudd trying to get on the inside of Kyle. And meanwhile, they're about 4 abreast back there behind. Believe it or not, they made it through the corner, 3 abreast. Darrell Walters, Jeff Bodine, and Bobby Hillen. And guess what? Everybody made it through this corner okay.
Well, it's a head up through the S's, Benny. They sort of single out and get in single file. That's the way they need to go through those high-speed turns. Dale Earnhardt leading Kyle Petty as they come off of turn 4. On the long straightaway here now, start braking to go into the loop. And you see our cable cam working. First time that they've come through there under competition, this new loop at Watkins Glen. Everybody seems to be getting through okay, Bob. No problems so far. In fact, the last car comes through the loop now. Everybody got through.
Boy, we saw some 4 abreast racing there for a while. By the way, that smoke there is for some aerial bombs that have been set off. It's not fog.
Bob, I said everybody got through the loop. They did, but Tom Bodine got tagged and spun as he started out of turn 9. He is sitting on the outside of the track. He has the car firing now. He should be able to get going again. He does, Tom Bodine. So sort of a rude awakening here in his debut in NASCAR Winston Cup racing. There you see the Diet Pepsi Ford underway. He'll stay in the lead lap.
And Dale Earnhardt is leading for the first time since Dover 7 races ago as he leads Kyle Petty and Ricky Rudd up through the S's once again.
Going through turn 2. This is turn 3, the left-hander. Now you go back to the right. We see all the cars coming through turn 3. There goes Rusty Wallace, the Miller Genuine Graphonic. Richard Petty. There goes Earnhardt up the straightaway, and then he'll be there in just a minute.
Yeah, they're there already. Doesn't take them long to get here. Now they start through the loop again. Kyle Petty now right in there with Dale Earnhardt, maneuvering very well through that tricky turn.
And that cable cam is working well, too, as it lets the car sweep by and heads at about 50 miles an hour in the other direction. Now heading down for turn number 10 once again, and Kyle Petty is right on the back bumper of Dale Earnhardt. That's Rudd 3rd, Fred Bodine is 4th, Ernie Irvin 5th, then comes Jeff Bodine, Mark Martin, Wally Dottleback, Rusty Wallace, and Dale Jarrett. And here comes, looks like Alan Kowicki making a move. But everybody pretty much in single file formation. Now there is the Haviland Ford being driven by Davey Allison. It had to go to the rear of the field to start the race. When we get a yellow flag, Dorsey Schrader will come in as a relief driver for Davey.
You know, Ernie Irvin is in 5th spot as we watch Davey Allison trying to pass one down the front straightaway, but Ernie Irvin is already up to 5th spot from his 10th starting spot. And Davey, sure enough, he gets under Ed Ferree, goes through the corner, back to Earnhardt, up the back straightaway.
And to head into the loop once again. Ernie Irvin pulled out like if he wanted to make a pass coming into that turn, and indeed he did move around the Brett Bodine car. So Irvin already up to 4th place.
Ernie Irvin started this race in 10th position, but he indicated that he was not happy, in fact did not particularly work on qualifying, rather worked on the race setup. He won at Sears Point earlier this year on the road course. He was the defending champion here. He won the Busch Grand National race at this facility earlier this year. So Ernie Irvan certainly has to be rated as one of the favorites coming into this event. There's the cave cam located at track level at turn number 10 as the field flashes by. The battle is for second position there as Ricky Rudd closes right in on the back bumper of Kyle Petty.
There's Mark Martin on the inside trying to get by some cars. There's the first 4 or 5. He's underneath someone. Who is that?
Looks like
Bill Elliott.
Yep.
He couldn't quite make the pass that time. And you can see those RPMs going up. 8,100. Speed going up 163, 4, 5. 165 miles an hour. As he backed off to go into the new loop here. Front 4 cars beginning to pull away just a little bit.
So actually the speed that Mark achieved on that lap is only about 3 miles an hour faster than we had under absolutely ideal conditions. Obviously the track is in pretty good shape.
Well, I would say it's pretty fast, Bob. The temperature is cool. It's still overcast here. And normally that is good, fast conditions at most any racetrack.
You can see his teammate, Wally Dolomite, get blown by Mark Martin.
He went into 7th place. Mark Martin is back to 8th, 9th, and we're riding with right now Rusty Wallace as we look out the back glass of his car back to Dale Jarrett. Now looking out the front of Rusty's car, this camera is positioned on the other side of the rear view mirror. It gives us a great shot, unobstructed as a matter of fact.
A couple hours ago at the very top of the show, we saw a picture from inside Mark Martin's car when Rusty Wallace went off down in turn 1.
Mark Martin in 8th position, Rusty Wallace in 9th. As they break once again, heading into the new inner loop.
Earnhardt is already through it. We see those cars now coming into the loop and coming out of it. They've adapted to that pretty well, Bob. Everybody has been getting through there. Haven't seen any wild moves coming through there so far.
Yep. Once again, down the second fastest part of the racetrack, separating turns 9 and 10. Now braking and gearing down for turn number 10. Dale Earnhardt, the pole sitter, hangs on to the lead, about a 1.5, 2 car length advantage on Kyle Petty. And again, Dale Earnhardt looking to pick up an additional $30,400 in Unocal bonus money. He was a pole sitter and will win that if he can go on to take the race. Now Wally Dallenbach Jr. looks like he's trying to make another move.
He's on the inside of, let's see, Brett Bodine down in turn 1 has position. Brett's not going to have any choice. Also, Rusty Wallace back there, he takes the position away from Mark Martin. We're inside Mark Martin's car now watching Rusty Wallace as he goes through turn 2. We'll see some telemetry. Martin's already in 3rd gear, up the hill, 77, 7,800. Now about now, he'll dump the thing into high gears. He heads up the back straightaway and accelerates to 165, 67 miles per hour.
He did get up to 166 that time, Benny. Earnhardt and Kyle Petty, Ricky Rudd, and the car number 4 of Ernie Irvan all ready to through the loop. They pulled away from Bill Elliott, who is currently in the 5th position, as we see Wallace now trying to work on Brett Bodine. He tried to get on the inside coming off there, but couldn't quite do it. You can see how close he is on the Quaker State 4 to Brett Bodine, just looking for a place to go.
Now he looks to the inside. Now to the outside. Here's Rusty trying to make the move into turn number 10. He will pick up the spot from Brett Bodine. So Rusty Wallace is showing some muscle here in the early going as he picks up a spot in the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac. Now we look through the back glass of that car. Back on Brett Bodine and Mark Martin.
Martin on the inside of Brett Bodine trying to take that spot away. Dale Jarrett back there in the interstate batteries. He's on the inside, and ooh, Brett almost lost the car as he was trying to make his line, and all of a sudden Dale Jarrett was there in the way.
He had to get on the brake so hard that 3 or 4 cars passed him. Besides that Dale Jarrett, we also saw Darrell Waltrip move up a spot. Here's the leaders once again in the inner loop. That's Earnhardt and Kyle Petty.
Boy, Kyle is staying right with Earnhardt, Bob. In every corner, he's just dogging him. Ricky Rudd is back about 8 or 10 car lengths, but the car number 4 of Ernie Irvin is right on Rudd. You can see that little distance there between the two twosomes.
First 4 cars separated themselves from the rest of the field. Earnhardt, Kyle Petty, Ricky Rudd, and Ernie Irvin. We're in Watkins, Glen, New York for the Budweiser at the Glen, and we'll be right back.
When Darrell Waltrip needs a part, he needs the right part, and he needs it fast.
And when you need parts, see the parts team at Western Auto. We've got top name brands and thousands of parts in stock. Right, guys?
Right, DW.
And we've got the right price, backed by our low price guarantee, right?
Right, DW. And while you're at Western Auto, pick up Valvoline motor oil at a low Western Auto price. People who know, use Valvoline.
Western Auto, the official auto parts and service store of NASCAR. Right, guys?
Right, DW.
What does a high-speed turn at Daytona have to do with a left turn on Elm Street? At Ford, we race more to learn more about things like safety. Because there's nothing like hugging a wall at 200 miles an hour to learn how to improve crosswind stability. Or racing in a crowd to learn about safer, more responsive handling. And what we learn in this rush hour traffic, you can use in yours. Have you driven a Ford lately?
Right now, every gallon of paint is on sale at Sears. Every interior, every exterior. Save 10 to 33% on Weather Beater, Easy Living, Dutch Boy, Olympic Stain, and more. But hurry, sale ends Saturday at Sears.
ESPN Speed World at the Budweiser at the Glen NASCAR Winston Cup race. Delayed by several hours because of rain. We are now underway with Dale Earnhardt, the pole sitter, leading Kyle Petty, who started outside the front row. Ernie Irvin has taken a position away from Ricky Rudd and now runs third as they once again go through the inner loop.
And those 4 cars have tightened up a little bit. Ernie Irvin about ready to get up there and make some pressure, but I'll tell you, Earnhardt has had all the pressure he wants from Kyle Petty. Kyle really showing a lot of savvy here. We haven't known him being that much of a road racer, but we heard him say that his crew chief, Robin Pemberton, came over from a team that has had success on road races with Mark Martin, and so he knew a lot about setting the car up.
As a matter of fact, Kyle Petty's best finish on a road course was way back in 1987 at Riverside when he finished in third. And, oh, look at the action as Ernie Irvin has to get hard onto the brakes. Well, we've got some great action here as they head for one again.
Here they come. Ernie's going to go on the inside of Kyle Petty, trying to take that spot away. He may have him. He does have him. Ernie Irvin is already up in the second spot. Now he sets his sights on Dale Earnhardt. And there they go through turn 2 up the hill.
Got to be impressed with Irvin's move so far. Started 10th, already up to 2nd.
I tell you, in practice yesterday morning, they didn't get their normal Saturday afternoon practice because of rain here. But in practice yesterday morning, he was absolutely flying in that car. They really had it dialed in, and that's obvious here today. Here they are now coming out of the loop into what is now turn 9. We'll see where Irvin tries to make a pass. He'll try him before too long. You can bet your bottom dollar.
They open it up a little bit here on this straightaway. Ricky Rudd has dropped back to 4th position and now begins to trail Kyle Petty by a few car lengths. We'll see what happens as they come off of corner number 11 and onto the main straightaway. That's where Ernie Irvin made his move last time, going into turn number 1, and let's see what happens this lap.
Kyle Petty's already trying to look on the inside of Ernie Irvin, gets a good run. Are they 3 abreast? That's what it looks like on the camera. Something's got to give. Can Ernie get up there? Let's see. He's there. 2 abreast. They go through the corner. They come off the corner. They make a little bit of contact, but meanwhile, Ernie has to fall behind Earnhardt.
Wow, some really close action. They did make contact as they came off that corner, but Earnhardt held his line.
Well, fellas, it looks like that maybe Earnhardt is holding Irvin up a little bit, and to me it looks like Bill Elliott and Wally Dallenbach back there are beginning to gain a little bit on those 4 cars.
Yeah, we see him in the picture there. Elliott and Wally Dallenbach both trailing, but not by very much. There they are. They're locked in a 2-car duel. Both of them are trying to catch up to the front 4. Looks like that Elliott has a little bit of damage on the right side of his car, but nevertheless, he and Dallenbach are setting their sights on the front 4. Here comes Dallenbach now, trying to take 5th from Bill Elliott. Can he outbreak him? Nope, not this time. Meanwhile, up front, it's still a great battle as Ernie Irvin tries everything to take that position and the lead away from Dale Earnhardt. He'll try it again under braking at the end of the straightaway.
One more time, they come in the corner side by side. Ernie, this time, he takes the spot away. Earnhardt falls in behind Ernie Irvin, who has started 10th and has taken the lead in 10 laps. That's one car per lap.
Ernie Irvin is the new leader at the Budweiser at the Glen, our second leader of the day. Dale Earnhardt took the lead at the drop of the green flag, and now it is Ernie Irvin up front.
Now we'll see if he is doing something that the others might learn from. He ran and won that Busch race here, and maybe he learned a little something that the others can learn from.
You can see the cars going through. Darrell Waltrip, Brett Bodine, Morgan Shepherd, Alan Kowicki, Richard Petty, Terry Labonte, and Ken Schrader. Concentrate on King Richard Petty, who was in his final race here at Watkins Glen. Running back in 15th spot.
Well, he started 18th, Bob, so he's moved up a few positions. He's doing right well out there.
Richard Petty has won more road course races than anybody else in the field. He's taken the checkered flag 6 times at various road course events in his long career. Here's Kyle Petty taking second.
He takes that spot away from Dale Earnhardt, gets him in, coming turn 1, outbreaks him, has the spot now. Kyle Petty can see if he can catch Ernie Irvin. Meanwhile, Ricky Rudd has closed up on the back bumper on Earnhardt.
While Kyle Petty and Dale Earnhardt were fighting for that second spot, Ernie inched his way ahead just a little bit.
He's beginning to pull away. That car really working, running fast on these straightaways that he's on right now. As he brakes now coming into the inner loop. And you can see that Elliott and Wally Dallenbach has almost caught Ricky Rudd, so they're coming on.
And remember at Talladega when Davey Allison started sprinkling a few laps into the race, he was able to stop and get a relief driver. It started sprinkling in turn 1 just about a couple of seconds ago, so that might be the break that Davey Allison's looking for.
Well, that's something we don't need is more rain. We've seen enough of that today, and we had hoped that maybe we could go the rest of the afternoon without any more rain, but many reports of light sprinkles as once again we jump inside Mark Martin's car and watch the telemetry on the Ford as he gets it down to about 79 miles an hour in turn number 11 before accelerating off of there and heading down the main straightaway.
He's coming straight towards me up to 141, 43 now, heavy on the brakes. He's wanted to downshift the first gear to get through this corner. He was in practice already in first gear, and we can see just a couple of raindrops on the windshield.
Yep, we sure can. We can see the raindrops on the windshield of Mark Martin's car. Not very hard, certainly nothing to create a caution at this point, but we'll keep our eye on it as Ernie Irvin continues to lead. Kyle Petty second. And there is Mark Martin running in 7th.
We see Ernie Irvin coming up on Hut Strickland. Hut apparently made a pit stop early in the race, or either had some trouble somewhere over the course, but he's about to go a lap down.
He made a pit stop there. He changed right side tires on the green flag. John Kernan, what did he change?
Well, Benny, they didn't change tires. What happened was the transmission got stuck in 4th gear, so they had to jack the car up, put it on jack stands, go underneath, and physically shape the linkage to get it unstuck out of 4th gear, and he should be running okay. And Benny, you're talking about raindrops down in turn 1. I'm a little bit up from you on pit road. We're feeling some intermittent drops right now.
Wally Dallenbach Jr. pulls down to the inside here on the main straightaway to try to pick up another spot.
There's our leader, Ernie Irvin. He has put a lap on Hut Strickland. That 12 car is now a lap down. Kyle Petty is the second place car, and
Dorsey Schrader is standing along pit road saying, come on, rain. I need a yellow so I can get in that car and relieve Davey Allison.
Not many times you'll see smiles on crew members' faces when it's starting to rain.
It starts to rain, that's for sure. So Irvin is your leader, and Kyle Petty runs in second position. The top 5, Earnhardt, Rudd, and Elliott as we have completed 13 of the 90 laps at Watkins Glen, New York.
You know, a lot of men want to know more about Rogaine with minoxidil. If you're one of them, I have good news for you. Now there's a video prepared especially for men who want answers to their questions about Rogaine. Simply call 1-800-678-6155, and Upjohn will be glad to send it to you, absolutely free. Now, once you've looked at it, you'll probably want to schedule an appointment with a doctor. After all, only your doctor can prescribe Rogaine. And if you call right now, Upjohn will also send you the names of doctors in your area who can help you decide if Rogaine is right for you. You'll also receive a $10 certificate as an incentive to see your doctor. For your free videotape that gives you the complete story on Rogaine with minoxidil and your $10 certificate, call toll-free 1-800-678-6155. So what are you waiting for? Make the call today.
Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, John Kernan, Dr. Jerry Punch back at Watkins Glen International for the Budweiser with the Glen NASCAR Winston Cup race that Ernie Irvin leads at the moment over Kyle Petty, Dale Earnhardt, and Ricky Rudd.
Ernie's got himself a little bit of a lead, Ned, as he come up towards you.
Yeah, that car really working well, Benny. Although Kyle is hanging in there pretty tight. There was a little bit more of it. And here is a side-by-side battle with Wally Dallenbach and Bill Elliott. Ooh, and they touch. They touch again. Elliott hit the inside Kirby, but Dallenbach does make the pass. But, boy, that could have been serious.
It was pretty serious, man. I tell you what, I saw some air on that 11 car.
No kidding, boy. Wally and Bill have been banging on each other for a couple of laps, but nothing that serious. Man, oh, man. Look what happened as they came into the interlude, Ned.
Dallenbach got on the inside, but he hit the inside Kirby. Then he got him straightened out. Then Elliott touched him just a little bit, got him sideways, and then when he corrected, he came back down into Elliott. Elliott backed off and said, hey, I don't need more of this. I'm in the battle for the championship.
But you know what? Dallenbach picked up the spot. He's now in 5th, and Bill Elliott back to 6th position as Bill Elliott now tries to go inside of Bill Elliott.
Mark Martin gets on the inside, and they go through the corner. Side by side, they touch as they come off the corner. Meanwhile, Mark still trying to get the position, and Bill Elliott now on the inside will hold on, and Rusty Wallace, he's back behind those two guys. That Pontiac said, let me through, you guys.
Well, we get jump inside Mark Martin's car. We'll see what he does now as they go on to the backstretch. He'll pull to the inside of Elliott and try to steal the position just like Dallenbach did last lap. Let's see if he can.
Exactly the same thing.
Nope.
He couldn't do it. One thing that they have to be awfully careful of, and Dallenbach did get his right front wheel on that curbing coming in there, and they say that you can do damage to a car if you hit that curbing too hard. But Dallenbach had pulled away, so apparently he did not do too much damage to it.
I thought maybe Elliott damaged his car, but I don't believe so.
That's what I was concerned about when Elliott ran over that curve, that he might have hit something on underneath the car, the steering linkage or something, but it looks like the car is still okay.
There is Ernie Irvin. Second spot, here comes Kyle Petty, then Earnhardt, then Rudd. Here comes Wally Dallenbach passing some of the slower cars as they come down into turn number 1.
That's Bob Shack in the 27 car, the white 27, sponsored by Max Race Cards. And Dallenbach goes to the inside of him. He just went by Greg Sachs in the Gallant Cornflake Chevrolet. And Dallenbach has put some distance on Elliott in a hurry.
Yeah, evidently Bill was holding him up a little bit because he hadn't taken off, and he said it was time to go. And this is one, there's Hut Strickland in the pits once again, apparently still having a transmission problem. Boy, that's too bad for Hut. He'll be running Ford next week in Michigan.
And he has announced, as we documented early this afternoon, how he will not be back with the Bobby Allison team next year. Here's Mark Martin, and now he finally passes Elliott.
And they went 3 abreast in there. Greg Sachs, one of the lap cars, was right in there, but he moved high and let him get on out of the way. But Mark Martin does take the position from Bill Elliott.
And now Rusty Wallace is going to try to pass Bill Elliott.
Elliott might have done a little damage when he hit that curving, fellas. That car might not be steering quite as well as it was.
I think you're right. Looks a little loose, doesn't he, Benny?
He does look a little bit loose. Meanwhile, Rusty tries to get on the inside. Tries to come off that corner and get a jump, but Elliott gets a jump. Let's see if Rush can gain on him down the straightaway.
Kyle Petty has come in for a pit stop. John.
Bob, we're only 17 laps in, but remember, they ran about 10 to 12 pace laps, so they're not really sure about fuel. They should have been able to go about 25 laps under green. Kyle pulls in a little bit hot. Now, you notice, normally on the pit stop, they will go to the outside and change tires first. This is a procedure they've been working on all weekend long, where they would change the inside first, then they will go around to the outside. What that allows them to do is get that first can of gasoline in very, very fast. Now they're making sure that Robin Pemberton, that the lug nuts are tied on the right side. Now they're working on the left side of the car. Kyle Petty is down in the wing, 24 even.
And we also saw how it's still just a little bit slick on pit road, at least for people as opposed to race cars, as the Jackman slipped just a little. And look at the lead that Ernie Irvin has. And a car into the fence is Todd Bodine, slamming into the tire barrier.
Boy, what a break this could be from Kyle Petty if the caution flag shouldn't come out, because he is going to be able to be leading the race when the rest of the cars go in the pits. And the caution flag is out. A break for Kyle Petty and Davey Allison.
Davey Allison, this is what he has been wanting since the race started. An opportunity to come in under caution and get relief from Dorsey Schrader. Todd Bodine's excursion into the tire barrier at the inner loop has created the situation that Dorsey Schrader has been waiting on.
Okay, I'm going to get to drive now. Here comes Davey Allison. He will not be able to come in the pits this time. Pit road will be closed.
That's because the pace car has not picked up the field, but it will, and when the car comes in for the pit stop, we'll be right there for you to show Dorsey Schrader relieving Davey Allison.
You know, I've messed up on a few relationships in my life, but there's one that's lasted over 35 years with a lot of help from Quaker State. It's tough on wear, tough on sludge. So Quaker State and I are planning on a meaningful relationship with my new car. So why don't you do the same with your new car's engine, and Quaker State will guarantee it for 250,000 miles or 10 years in writing. You think if I gave Lonnie the Quaker State deal, she'd give me the same guarantee? Quaker State is one top motor oil.
Ask anyone who's driven a Ford lately. Ask them about quality. It's one of the biggest reasons 5 of the 10 best-selling cars and trucks in America are Fords. The F-Series pickup, Taurus, Explorer, Escort, and Ranger. 5 out of 10 of the country's best sellers. It's quality that breeds success. Have you driven a Ford lately? It's more than just a question. It's an answer.
Over 1 million people each week walk into AutoZone, and taking care of them means having what they need when they need it. That means stocking a lot of parts for a lot of cars. Now, nobody can stock everything, but we stock more than most. And how do we know which ones to carry? That's easy. We listen to our customers, because nobody knows better about what you want than you. So the next time you walk through that door, you might think of yourself as a customer, but we think of you as the boss.
The Budweiser at the Glen is under its first caution on lap number 19. Todd Bodine making contact with the tire barrier in turn number 10. That has created the yellow, which was a big break for Kyle Petty because he was just making a pit stop. And it also creates the situation that Davey Allison has been waiting on. There is Todd Bodine. He is out of the car. Obviously okay, but with a badly damaged race car. Davey Allison will be coming in for relief. Jerry?
And, Bob, the discussion was whether they should stay out and possibly pick up the 5 bonus points for leading a lap, take advantage of the caution flag in more ways than one, or come down pit road and change drivers. They made a decision to come down pit road. It's basically wholesale pit stop to Dale Earnhardt, Ernie Irvin, Darrell Waltrip, and now Davey Allison makes his way down pit road. Remember, the speed is 35 miles per hour. It looks to be very slow, but because the pits are very narrow here, they want to make sure to maintain a safety margin. He's already unbuckled the seatbelt. He pulls the car in. Crew now going to work. Right side tires, 1 can of fuel going in. Davey is trying to very carefully get the steering wheel off. He slides out down the driver's window. Davey is out. He comes around this side of the car, and Dorsey Schrader goes in. Now the crew member there, they have finished the right side tire change. Now they will jack up the left side of the car. Very, very smoothly things going on here in the Haviland pits. And what a break for Team Haviland here in Robert Yates Racing. Dorsey Schrader getting hooked up. Now, he had a radio already hooked up to his helmet, so that didn't have to happen when he got in the car. Just a matter of getting the belts on. And remember, Dorsey Schrader the same size as far as the seat configuration is concerned with Davey Allison. They make a slight chassis adjustment to tighten the car up a little bit. Dorsey getting hooked up, the window net going up. Meanwhile, the rest of the pit road has been cleaned out as it had a 4-tire change. They are very, very happy here in the Haviland pits. Possibly a chance to salvage the Winston Cup win today, or certainly a lot of points, and maybe another shot at keeping that Winston Cup championship hopes alive. The car is refired. Dorsey Schrader getting everything hooked up. They confirm they can hear him on the radio. He is now talking back to the crew on the two-way radio. The window net is up, and he will be down and away here momentarily. So a tremendous break here in the pits, gentlemen, for Davey Allison's crew, and now Dorsey Schrader aboard the car.
And it is taking a considerable amount of time for Dorsey to get in the car and out of the pits. But remember, we are under caution, so he's going to be able to quickly catch up to the rear of the field. And when we go green, we will be watching Dorsey Schrader move up through the field. Davey Allison's race is done. Dorsey Schrader is now in the Haviland Ford.
At Ford, when we test technology, we go by the book. This book. It takes us places that make our Ford trucks even tougher and make our performance for the street even better. Because the more we race, the more we learn. And no one races in more places than Ford. We test our ideas all over the world to make driving better for you at home. Have you driven a Ford lately?
Right now, every gallon of paint is on sale at Sears. Every interior, every exterior. Save 10 to 33% on Weather Beater, Easy Living, Dutch Boy, Olympic Stain, and more. But hurry, sale ends Saturday at Sears.
Here we go again, guys. Wow, I feel good. Yeah, this guy really gets around. He's got the auto light. American Orient Pro, we're guaranteed. I feel good. Yeah, 2 years no matter how far he goes. That's why we've been everywhere. Vegas! Yeah! Daytona! LA! Wherever we're going! Yeah! And we're not even tired!
Back at Watkins Glen International, the green flag comes out from our first caution period on lap number 22. Now up front is Kyle Petty. Remember, he made a pit stop just as the yellow came out, and therefore was able to get into the lead while everybody else had to come in for a pit stop.
I'll tell you what, there's a lot of shenanigans going on down through turn one, but believe it or not, they all made it one more time. I don't know how many times these guys can go through your side by side and keep on making it, Ned.
But look how quickly they get in single file as they hit up through the S's. Kyle Petty already now ready to start braking coming into the new loop here at the Watkins Glen International Raceway. With everybody coming in there single file. And it looks like they're all going to make it okay. Rusty Wallace back there trying to move around Brett Benine.
That caution flag, a huge break for Kyle Petty because he had made a pit stop just a lap before. He was able to stay on the racetrack and assume the lead. Although he just didn't assume the lead, he's been running well all afternoon.
The battle for 8th position as Rusty Wallace and Brett Bodine are wheel-to-wheel through corner number 10. Now in 11, Brett pulls slightly ahead. Let's see if Rusty will make a move as they come down the main straightaway. Battle for 8th position as we once again see Ernie Irvin flex his muscles and take second from Dale.
He's on the inside of Earnhardt and takes that second spot away. Accelerates off turn one. Earnhardt tries to come back.
Sounds like we just lost Betty's mic. There is Alan Kowicki pulling to the inside of Brett Bodine as the field comes through turn number 1 onto the straightaway between turns 1 and 2, and there is Dorsey Schrader, who's now in the Haviland Ford, having relieved Davey Allison.
He has run up on a couple of cars there, Bob, that were side by side for a moment. Ted Musgrave and the car number 12, Pat Strickland, so he just had to follow. Now he tries to move on the inside of Musgrave coming into the inner loop.
You can bet he's going to take that car to its ultimate.
Ooh, he gets a little bit loose. Musgrave gets, or that's the car number 65, not Ted Musgrave.
Yeah, that's Jerry O'Neill.
Yeah. It's 55 there for a moment.
And there is Davey Allison, who has a big smile on his face.
They wouldn't be telling jokes if they just saw what we saw.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Now let's see what Dorsey can do with Jerry O'Neill. Headed into turn number 10. This time he'll make the clean pass.
Dorsey run over the curb, and is Jerry O'Neill still in front of him?
Yeah, I guess he is. He's been having a time with him. See what happens down there,
Here,
Benny.
he come down towards turn 1. He's going to try one more time to outbrake him. He does outbrake him and take the spot away.
Well, Jerry punches down in the Hamilton Ford pit with Davey.
And Davey, you got a bit of a break there with the caution flag.
Yeah, we did, Jerry. You know, I would like to have stayed out there longer. I was having a little bit of fun, but, you know, it's for the best right now. I need to take care of what the problems we got with the arm and the wrist, and we'll be ready to go the full distance next week at Michigan. But, you know, Dorsey Schrader, he's got a whole lot more experience here at Watkins Glen than I do, and I don't have any trouble turning it over to him.
Think about staying out, maybe picking up those 5 points for leading a lap?
We thought about it, but we weren't sure how quick that caution was going to be. We didn't want to take any chances, so we just decided to come on in and get it over with.
Davey Allison now a spectator here, hoping someone else can carry that car to victory lane. Bob?
It's probably a good idea that they didn't stay out and pick up the 5 bonus points, but that's how championships are won. They get 5 points for leading a lap, and King Richard Petty is in trouble, spinning.
That's in turn 11, just before the start-finish line.
Just at the entrance to pit road, as a matter of fact, but Richard has it going again and pulls back onto the racetrack.
And Ernie Irvin has just about caught Kyle Petty, just a car length or so behind him, and may try to outbrake him as they go up this back straightaway and head towards the inner loop.
Really, for the last lap or so, he's been about that distance, Benny. He moves in as they come into the loop a little bit, but then Kyle is able to pull away when they get on other parts of the racetrack, so Kyle hanging tough out there.
Well, Richard just spun again up in turn 1. He went down in the corner on the outside of Jerry O'Neill, blew down in the corner, and all of a sudden, I don't think there's any contact, but around he went.
So Richard Petty having his troubles here, spinning twice in 1 lap. Now we see Ernie Irvin right on the back of that mellow yellow Pontiac as Earnhardt runs 3rd, Martin 4th, and Jeff Bodine 5th. Ernie Irvin may be about to make a pass here on the main straightaway as they head into 1. It looks like he's going to do it, Benny.
Bob, I'll tell you what, he is so strong coming off that turn 11. He gets off that corner on the inside so good, takes the spot away. He's passed just about everyone he wants to on the inside going in turn 1.
That's probably the best place on the track to make a pass, Benny. And apparently they adjust to set the car up, the gearing, and everything else to where he could do that.
Well, there's Richard Petty spinning down in turn number 11, and we caught that from the camera mounted under the bridge.
There was Dale Jarrett right behind Richard Petty, the Interstate Battery car, and Richard goes around.
Sterling Marlin was right behind him and had to take evasive action.
Well, here are the leaders in turn 9 again. Ernie Irvin holding on to that lead now once he got around Kyle Petty. Be interesting to see if he can pull away as he did before the caution.
There's Earnhardt in 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th is Shepard, 7th is Rusty Wallace, then comes Brett Bodine and Wally Dallenbach and Alan Kowicki and the others.
Bob, you saw Ricky Rudd there. He's pretty far back. He had a longer pit stop than a lot of others. He and Dale Jarrett both came out way back, and so did Darrell Waltrip. All 3 of those drivers had longer pit stops. I don't know if they changed 4 tires and others just changed 2 or what might have been the case, but all 3 of those drivers lost a lot of time on that pit stop.
We ride with 4th place there for a moment, Mark Martin.
He tried to get on the inside of Earnhardt, tried to outbrake him going in turn 1. That did not work. He had to fall in behind Earnhardt. Meanwhile, Jeff Bodine right behind Mark Martin in the Motorcraft Tour.
Jeff's looking pretty good. Now we're riding with Mark Martin, who is in 4th position. Just ahead is Dale Earnhardt as they move up through the S's and onto the backstretch once again. Now watch the speed go up to the high 160s. 165 before breaking Ned.
That's pretty good after they've run this far in the race. Bob was going to go a little bit higher than that early in the race, but he's working on Dale Earnhardt, so he's getting all out of that 40-10 right now. Long
sweeping corner here in turn number 9. And There is Ernie Irvin, the leader of the Budweiser at the Glen, closely pursued by Kyle Petty. We've completed 26 of the 90 laps, and we'll be back right after this.
With each new day, you find a way to be your best.
Gillette Sensor for the closest, safest shave ever.
You know you gotta be a little better than the rest.
Only Gillette Sensor has spring-mounted twin blades that sense and adjust to every detail of every face. Gillette Sensor, when you're the best, there's no feeling like it.
Gillette, the best of best.
Hey, isn't that Calvin?
I haven't seen him for a while. Wonder where he's heading.
I heard he got a job.
Oh, is that right? Well, it's about time he got himself together.
Now that you mention it, there is something different about him.
Well, just goes to show you can't judge a book by its cover now.
Looks like responsibility has been good for him.
Well, I'm just glad somebody believed in him enough to give him a chance.
Wonder where he's working.
Welcome to McDonald's. May I help you?
We are live at Watkins Glen International Raceway, and we welcome all of you who have enjoyed the IndyCar race at Cleveland. We finally got this race underway as the skies have parted. Partially sunny skies now over most of the racetrack, and we are 29 laps into this 90-lap event. Budweiser at the Glen NASCAR Winston Cup race at Watkins Glen International. The leader of the event right now is Ernie Irvin. Second is Kyle Petty. Third, here comes Dale Earnhardt, and in fourth position was the man you were just riding with, Mark Martin. There is Ernie Irvin. He has led this race twice. Now, the original leader was Dale Earnhardt. Ernie Irvin took over the lead from him after Kyle Petty did, and then we had a yellow caution period, and Ernie Irvin moved back into the lead. And our first Ram Field summary for you as you look for your favorite driver to see where they ran last lap here at the Budweiser at the Glen. Ernie Irvin leading Kyle Petty at the moment.
Ernie Irvin started 10th, and on the 10th lap took the lead. So, tell you what, the guy has been just awesome this afternoon. That's turn 10. Ooh, he gets a little bit sideways there. This is turn 11.
Now,
he comes off and turns to the right and heads down towards the start-finish line and down the front straightaway.
Notice in 25th position is the 28 car, not driven by Davey Allison, but driven by Dorsey Schrader. We will document how that happened in just a moment as we continue to show you the Ram Field summary. Several cars are already down a lap, but Davey Allison has relinquished the spot in the Haviland Ford to Dorsey Schrader, and it happened during our first caution period. We continue to watch the live action on the racetrack. That is Ernie Irvin in the Kodak Film Chevrolet, closely pursued by Kyle Petty. Here comes third and fourth as now Mark Martin begins to challenge Dale Earnhardt for that position as they head toward you, Ned.
But I'm not sure he's going to be able to do it. He's going to have to outbrake him going into the loop here, but he couldn't do it. It's hard to outbrake Dale Earnhardt going into any turn. So Earnhardt holds on to that position. The front two cars have moved away from this third and fourth place battle here. But for the moment, Earnhardt holds on to third. Here comes Mark Martin on the inside, trying to go down the back straightaway on the outside of Earnhardt. But that's going to put him in bad position going in this left-hander. That's not where you want to be.
They're going to go through there side by side through turn 10. Now he will have the advantage going into the other corner, which is turn 11. And indeed, Mark Martin does pick up third position from Dale Earnhardt.
That's doing it the hard way, I'll tell you that. Here they come. There's Jeff Bodine, and also on the inside is Rusty Wallace trying to take that spot away from Bodine. Meanwhile, Morgan Shepherd is going to try to follow Rusty through.
Morgan Shepherd had an awfully good pit stop. He was running back about 12th or 14th and came out running 6th after their pit stop.
Here's 5th, 6th, and 7th. Rusty, Jeff, Morgan Shepherd, then back to Alan Kowicki. And it looks like Rick Mast has spun and, in fact, possibly made contact with the wall. This is right at the entrance. In fact, it's blocking the entrance to pit road off of corner number 11. It appears as if the Skoal Classic car is moving. Yes, indeed it is. He'll pull back on the racetrack, and we will not have a caution period.
And you're right. He did make some contact with the wall. Some pretty good damage to the front end of that Oldsmobile.
That nose is crinkled up pretty good. And here it is from our camera mounted on the bridge at the start-finish line. Looks like he just lost it coming out of the corner.
Kenny Schrader in front of him. He was trying to catch up, but keep up with that Kodiak Chevrolet, and he didn't quite make it.
Michael Waltrip was close behind, but everybody, including Michael, was able to get away. And there you see the contact with the inside guardrail off of corner number 11 that caused the damage on the number 1 Skoal Classic Oldsmobile.
There's on the Dick Trickle just went by, and Dick Trickle spun up here in turn 1 just a moment ago. Did about 2 360s down in turn 1 and kept it going.
There is Dorsey Schrader, who is now behind the controls of the Haviland Ford. On lap number 18, we had a caution period when Todd Bodine had contact with the wall in turn 10. He's okay, but that set up the caution period that brought Davey in, and Jerry Punch was there to call the action.
Pulls the car in, crew now going to work. Right side tires, 1 can of fuel going in. Davey is trying to very carefully get the steering wheel off. He slides out down the driver's window. Davey is out. He comes around this side of the car, and Dorsey Schrader goes in. And the crew member there, they have finished the right side tire change down. They will jack up the left side of the car. Very, very smoothly things going on here in the Haviland pits. And what a break for Team Haviland here at Robert Yates Racing. Dorsey Schrader getting hooked up. Now, he had a radio already hooked up to his helmet, so that didn't have to happen when he got in the car. Just a matter of getting the belts on. And remember, Dorsey Schrader the same size as far as the seat configuration is concerned with Davey Allison. They make a slight chassis adjustment to tighten the car up a little bit. Dorsey getting hooked up, the window net going up. Meanwhile, the rest of the pit road has been cleaned out as it had a 4-tire change. They are very, very happy here in the Haviland pits. Possibly a chance to salvage the Winston Cup win today, or certainly a lot of points, and maybe another shot at keeping that Winston Cup championship hopes alive. The car is refired. Dorsey Schrader getting everything hooked up. They confirm they can hear him on the radio. He is now talking back to the crew on the 2-way radio. The window net is up, and he will be down and away here momentarily. So a tremendous break here in the pits, gentlemen, for Davey Allison's crew, and now Dorsey Schrader aboard the car.
It is taking a considerable amount of time for Dorsey to get in the car and out of the pits, but remember, we are under caution, so he's going to be able to quickly catch up to the rear of the field. And when we go green, we will be watching Dorsey Schrader move up through the field. Davey Allison's race is done. Dorsey Schrader is now in the Haviland Ford. That was a few laps ago. Dorsey, of course, did join the rear of the field in 32nd position. At the moment, has moved up to 21st, so he is picking off cars rather steadily.
Long ways to go. And these cars that he's been passing are not quite as good as the Earnhardts and the Mark Martins and the Jeff Bodines, Morgan Shepherd. When he gets those guys, it's going to be tough sledding.
We saw a few minutes ago the number 1 car, Rick Mass, spin and have contact with the wall. Let's go to the pits and a report on that from John Kernan.
Well, Bob, Rick has shut the car off to the Skoal Classic Oldsmobile. Very disappointing thing, the set of circumstances to happen to him. Nobody seems to know what exactly happened to Rick when he made the crash. Now, Michael Waltrip, I understand, has crashed.
Yeah, he's made contact with the tire barrier, has bounced off of it. Doesn't look like that he damaged the car very badly. Appears to be trying to get it to go again. Pennzoil Pontiac now begins to slowly move in reverse. Michael Waltrip indeed sliding off the course.
Same spot that Todd Bodine got off the course, up in turn 10. And meanwhile, I don't know, does he get all the way? Yep, he does get to the tire barrier with it back in pretty good.
Yeah, he hit it pretty hard. Here's another angle as he got off the track, and this slick grass sent him hard into the tire barrier. He hit it with the right rear of the race car.
Yeah, that grass is wet, Bob, and it is very slick. Once you get onto that, you don't have a lot of traction and not a great deal of control.
So he heads for pit road. We might also mention that Richard Petty spun a couple of times earlier on the same lap, as a matter of fact. He's been in for a couple of pit stops, but Richard Petty is still in competition, running in 31st position. There is the leader of the race, Ernie Irvin. Second place, Kyle Petty. And we get down to Jerry Punch, who's in the Michael Waltrip pit.
The Pennzoil Pontiac crew beginning to work on the car of Michael Waltrip. Some damage to the rear of the machine. The rear pushed directly in. They will change all 4 tires. As Kyle Petty makes a move now, Ernie Irvin And he gets past him in the loop, so Kyle Petty will make that move and take the position away. Meanwhile, back in the pits here, the Pennzoil crew now have changed left side and now right side tires, and will begin to beat some of the sheet metal away. We are told that possibly Michael may have cut a tire, which caused the wheel hop and the spin up in the corner. But in any event, under the green flag, a costly pit stop here for the Pennzoil team.
While they work on that car in the pit area, it is Kyle Petty who has taken command of the Budweiser at the Glen, passing Ernie Irvan in the new inner loop. Let's see what happens here if Ernie is able to repass Kyle in what has been the favorite passing spot on the track, and that is headed to turn number 1.
He's been awfully tough coming in here, but this time it doesn't look like he's going to be able to make it. He closes right up on the back bumper of Kyle Petty, but not able to get by.
35, make that 36 of 90 laps have been completed, with Petty out front, followed by Irvan, Martin, Earnhardt, and Wallace.
I'm Officer Lisa Hale, Vice President of the Crime Prevention Association of Michigan. This year, over 1.5 million motor vehicles will be stolen. Stolen from shopping centers, workplaces, even from your own driveways. As a police officer, it's my duty to protect you as well as your personal possessions. So if you don't want your car or truck to be stolen, here are a few tips to remember. 1. Always remove your keys from the ignition. 2. Double check to make sure that your doors are locked. 3. At night, park in a well-lit area. 4. Never leave packages or personal belongings exposed on seats. And 5. Never leave your car without first protecting it with the club. The club is a tough-tempered steel bar that can't be cut. Once attached, it makes driving your car virtually impossible. I personally use and recommend the club to help prevent auto thefts. It's affordable protection that you can't afford to be without. Remember to avoid cheap imitations. Make sure the anti-theft device you buy says the club on the handle.
The club's available at most stores where auto supplies are sold.
The Volvo International. A midsummer showdown of the world's greatest shot makers, all on target for terrific tennis. Wimbledon champion Andre Agassi, U.S. Open champion Stefan Edberg, Yvonne Wendell, John McEnroe, and defending champion Peter Korda take aim at the title in a key U.S. Open tune-up. The Volvo International begins Monday at 1:30 Eastern, live on ESPN.
ESPN Speed World presenting the Budweiser at the Glen NASCAR Winston Cup race from Watkins Glen International Raceway. At the completion of 37 laps, it is Kyle Petty in car number 42 that is leading Ernie Irvan in car number 4. They come up the backstretch off of a car going slowly back there that we saw briefly.
Derek Cole starts dead in the water on the back straightaway.
This could create a yellow if he can't get to a safe spot. This is the new inner loop that we talked about very early this afternoon before our rain delays. The new part of Watkins Glen International Raceway. And really, Ned, we discussed there is Derek Cope's car now stopped completely, and we watched the starter stand right in front of us to see if the yellow is going to come out. John, what do you know about this?
Fighting an engine problem, Bob. He was running on only 7 cylinders, so initial reports are something gave up in the motor. A tough day for Derek and Barry Dotson and that Purelator crew.
Caution flag is out, Bob. The race car is ready to move on the racetrack.
Doyle Ford is waiting for Kyle Petty to come off the 11th corner. There it is, the caution flag for the second time today. And so they're going to have to retrieve Derek Cope's stalled car from the racetrack. Our second caution comes out on lap number 38. 90 laps will make up this NASCAR Winston Cup event, and we'll be back with more in a moment.
At GMC Truck, our only business is trucks. That has been for over 80 years. A dedication to truck strengths and values to keep in mind. Because when you need to haul something, tow something, carry precious cargo, find new trails, or simply ride high and proud, there's nothing quite as strong as a truck. GMC Truck, the strength of experience.
Mark and my relationship goes way past business. I'm sure in a previous life he and I were twin brothers. Throughout the race, the driver and crew chief communicate. The driver complains about the car or brags about the car. It's the crew chief's job on pit stops to make whatever fixes he can to help the driver's predicament. Everyone has about the same access to equipment and technology. But the people who rub on it the most and think the most of it and think about it the most will end up winning the race.
Oil. It's the lifeblood of your engine. That makes your oil filter your engine's most vital organ. That's why Fram keeps going the extra mile to make the best protection even better. The Fram Extra Guard oil filter. Unique glass fiber paper stops more dirt than any other filter for the best protection ever. Fram Extra Guard, American or import, it's an extra lease on life.
The field is under caution for the second time this afternoon. This because of a stalled car up by turn number 3, being driven by Derek Cope. Let's see what happens here in terms of pit stops. Here comes most everybody, Jerry.
Indeed, Bob, almost everyone down pit road. A good chance for the crews to be able to maybe take a good hard look at the tire wear, since they have run awfully hard these past 20 laps. They pitted on lap 19 for the first caution flag, and here is Kyle Petty down pit road. Mark Martin, Rusty Wallace, Dale Earnhardt, and Ernie Irvin. We'll watch Dale Earnhardt and Ernie Irvin pit as that crew go to work on the Goodrich Chevrolet, our pole center for this afternoon. And we'll have right side and left side tire changes. Likewise, the Kodak film team right behind them working on Ernie Irvin's car. A lot of activity here in the pits. Let's check in on the Kyle Petty pits. John?
We're in the middle of a 4-tire change. They are doing it just a little bit differently. They're changing the inside first, going out to the outside. It's a race here in the pits. They're already finished on the right side. They're on the left side. Kyle is down and away. A great pit stop for the Bello Yellow crew as he beats everyone out. Mark Martin also coming down pit road.
We understand that the 28 car, Dorsey Schrader, could not get into his pit, so he made another lap. It is tight here on pit road, and the speed limit is 35 on and off. As you can see, most everyone is coming off of pit road now, having made their pit stops. And this is the shot from Rusty Wallace's car, and look at the raindrops on the windshield. Once again.
Oh boy, we're not quite halfway.
Nope, we got 6 more laps to go before we reach the halfway point. Now, watch pit road, and here comes Schrader in the 28 car. And either he doesn't see it or he just says, I'm sorry, it's too congested, I'm going to make another lap, but he didn't stop. So Schrader stays out there as the rest of the field has completed their pit stops. And Jerry, why didn't Dorsey come in?
Well, apparently Dorsey could not see the sign on pit road, and so that was a miscue as far as being able to see. Not accustomed to all the congestion when he runs a Trans Am or GTO race that you normally have in Winston Cup pit stops. But it could turn out to be a plus for him because they have told him just moments ago on the radio to stay out. They're discussing it right now, and because they are feeling some rain sprinkles here in the pits, they said stay out, stay out, stay out. We're going to try to make a decision here momentarily as to whether we want you to pit or not, but right now we're going to leave this thing if we can.
Well, he isn't at the front of the field.
But I believe he's leading the race.
Is he?
I believe so. I don't know. We'll see. It's hard to tell who has been lapped and who has not been lapped, but...
Well, you're right. Most of the cars in front of him were probably lapped cars, so yeah, our early indication is that Schrader is leading the race and therefore picks up 5 bonus points. And every one is very, very valuable at this point. Now it appears as if Dorsey will come into the pits. He comes off of corner number 11, and yes, indeed, he does. Drop to the inside and head toward his pit behind Richard Petty and the others. Jerry's headed toward you.
Well, exactly, Bob. It was decision by committee down here in the Haviland pits. At first, they said we need to stay out and possibly pick up those bonus points, but the gamble was just too high. They decided to go ahead at the last minute. They said, we'll call you in and go ahead and make our pit stop. Let's not roll the dice too early here. We may not get rain. It's looking a little brighter back over the east of us here. So the Haviland crew now working on Dorsey Schrader's car. We're under caution for the second time today here in the 7th annual Budweiser at the Glen. Back with more road course racing on ESPN after this.
All of these championship-winning drivers have one thing in common: Goodyear Racing Eagles. The race-winning technology that's found in the Goodyear Racing Eagles can also be found in the world's best-selling line of high-performance street tires, Goodyear Eagle Street Radials. The champions know And it's why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
Everyone talks about how racing technology makes their street cars better. What they fail to say is whose race technology has won more than anyone else. Chevrolet. The cars more people depend on.
Right now, every gallon of paint is on sale at Sears. Every interior, every exterior. Save 10 to 33% on Weather Beater, Easy Living, Dutch Boy, Olympic Stain, and more. But hurry, sale ends Saturday at Sears.
To demonstrate the incredibly realistic color of Kodak Gold Plus film, just open the box. No other print film captures a wider spectrum of colors at any speed. Kodak Gold Plus film, true colors, more colors.
We're back at Watkins Glen for the Budweiser at the Glen NASCAR Winston Cup race. Now, it's just about 5:30 Eastern time, and for those of you who tuned in to see the Senior PGA Digital Classic, the final round was rained out. There was a sudden death playoff between the two co-leaders at the end of the second round, Mike Hill and Walt Zimbrisky. You can see that following our NASCAR Winston Cup race, or if time doesn't permit, we'll of course have all the information for you on SportsCenter this evening. We have completed 40 laps, and we're going to go at least one more lap before we go back to green flag racing. This caution was brought out when Derek Cope's car stalled up in turn number 3. And we understand that, again, several positions around this 2.4-mile racetrack are reporting raindrops. And as we jump inside Mark Martin's Valvoline Ford, we can see that indeed there is moisture on the windshield. Raining where you are, Benny? Benny is down in turn number 1. But apparently the mic isn't working. Maybe it's waterlogged. This has been an unusual day in terms of precipitation and weather. Now, this is very important. Look at the Fram Field standings here as we're 5 laps away from the halfway point. And you know the rules. If we complete halfway and NASCAR determines that we are in a rain situation and cannot finish the rest of the race, it will be called at this point. So these drivers that are running up front here may be in a very good position.
Yeah, they could be, Bob. It's raining a little bit out here in my position right now. Not very hard, certainly not as hard as it did earlier today, but it wouldn't have to rain much harder to keep a long caution, and then, hey, we'd be in darkness before too long here.
Yeah, that's one consideration, of course, a NASCAR will have. Will we be able to complete the full distance before darkness sets in? This is the in-car camera on Jimmy Hensley's machine. The 28 car, according to our NASCAR scoring, driven by Dorsey Schrader, and of course Davey Allison will pick up all the points, is currently in 6th position. Although he did pit, didn't he, Nick?
Yeah, he did pit, Bob. Okay. So he's way back in the field now, back at the...
he was 6th before he entered the pits, and that put him back. That's the new inner loop, and Ned, really there hasn't been a whole lot of action there today.
Not really. I talked to a number of the drivers after their practice and their qualifying here, and what they thought might happen there. Several of them said you're going to see more action there than you ever saw in turn 5. But really, we haven't seen. We've seen some passing. We've seen a little bit of bumping between Bill Elliott and Wally Dallenbach coming through there, and a couple of other cars, but nothing major. We haven't even seen a spin out through there today, so I don't know if they're being extra careful or if they just adjusted to it that way.
Well, only one car has had to drop out of this race as a result of crashing, and that was Todd Bodine. He came in contact with the tire barrier in turn 10 that resulted in our first caution, but Todd was quickly out of the car and okay. And the yellow is going to continue out here at Watkins Glen because of rain showers on the racetrack. We'll be right back.
Look for the sign. Professional service.
Red, blue, and white.
A friendly face.
It's a good sign.
Your Big A Pro.
Keeps your car running right.
Nice to know he uses top quality Big A parts.
Big A, the sign that keeps your car running right.
Someone to depend on when you need to depend on your car.
Hey, Mark, what's it like?
What?
Driving one of those souped-up family cars.
I don't think you could handle it, Al. Sometimes we bump into each other.
Yeah, but it's always in slow motion.
Are you going to take that from a guy who can't do anything for more than 5 seconds at a time?
Turn and face your accuser, Joe.
I don't have to turn, man. I'm a drag racer.
At Oldsmobile, we know the difference between designing a race car to be fast and designing a race car to be a winner. The new Achieva SCX has an engine that just doesn't know when to quit. Anti-lock brakes that help make cornering a breeze. And the difference between this winner and the winner you can buy is a wash. The Achieva SCX from Oldsmobile. The power of intelligent engineering.
Approaching the halfway point here, the top 5. Dick Trickle, Kyle Petty, Morgan Shepherd, Mark Martin, and Rusty Wallace. The question is, did Davey Allison's car, driven by Dorsey Schrader, lead a lap? Jerry?
Bob, the answer is no. They were going to keep the car out. They decided to go ahead and have him pit. So subsequently, by pitting and not staying out, he did not lead a lap. So they have not yet got those bonus points here in the Haviland pits. One guy who didn't pit and, yes, will lead a lap, John Kernan is in his pit. John?
Talking about Dick Trickle, of course, they were hoping that they're looking at this cloud up here, and they're thinking maybe rain, and maybe they could stay out and lead it at the halfway point. But now that they're getting ready to go back to green, they're going to have to bring Trickle in, so it could turn out to be a very costly move for that racing team. And guys, I think they're just about set to let him loose.
Indeed they are. The lights atop the pace car are no longer flashing. And this will complete lap number 43, which means we will only be 2 more laps from the halfway point, and the driver leading at that point, the winner of $10,000. Looks like that Kyle Petty's going to make quick work, possibly, of Dick Trickle and take the lead here before they get into the first turn. Yeah, Kyle's got the lead already. As they pass the Skoll Classic Oldsmobile that was damaged earlier by Rick Mast. 3 abreast through the first corner. That's Morgan Shepherd in the middle. Here comes Kyle Petty storming into the lead.
And Morgan Shepherd has moved into second place. Another quick pit stop by the Wood brothers got him out in better position. He was running 7th before that pit stop. There's Mark Martin going around Trickle, and now Rusty Wallace going around as we ride with Mark Martin up through the S's, the high-speed part of the racetrack. Now braking to get into the new loop here. Rick Matt's running pretty good there with that banged-up car. He's a lap down, at least a lap down.
Yeah, we show him 3 laps down, actually, in 32nd position. And again, a little bit of moisture on some of the windshields. We were riding with Rusty Wallace there for just a moment. Here comes Mark Martin and Wallace, Irvin, Wally Dallenbach, Alan Kowicki. That's from about 4th on back.
Bob, I think we'll see some aggressive driving because there are still a lot of clouds around, and they want to make up every position they possibly can in case the rain does come. See Rusty Wallace dip out there to try to get on the inside of Mark Martin, but it's not going to work this time.
Mark Martin is running in 3rd position. And next time around will be the halfway point. And it will be an official race should we get more precipitation than we're getting right now. Just a light sprinkle in some portions of the racetrack at the moment. Ernie Irvin, he's all over Rusty Wallace, and he's going to pick up that spot, Ned.
Yes, he is. He moves right around him. He sees Kyle Petty up there, but he knows the Kyle is too far away for him to try to catch before they get that halfway mark because Kyle Petty has moved away.
4th, 5th, and 6th there. Ernie Irvin up ahead. 5th is Rusty Wallace, and 6th is Wally Dallenbach. And you see the dark cloud that Mark passed under, and a little bit of moisture falling from that cloud. There's Morgan Shepherd 2nd, then Martin, Irvin, Wallace, Dallenbach, Kowicki, Terry Labonte. Here comes the leader off of corner number 11, and Cross flags are displayed. The halfway point has been reached, and Kyle Petty picks up $10,000 from the Gillette Halfway Challenge. Kyle Petty is the name you must know if you are called by the Gillette Halfway Challenge people in the next few moments, because he was the leader at the halfway point and picked up the 10 grand.
And Bob, it's raining down here in turn 1.
Where you been, Eaton?
I went on lunch break, but I'm back now, and it's raining.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we're beginning to see a little bit of precipitation on the window of the broadcast booth also, which is directly across from the start-finish line. So, we now have reached the halfway point, so now, as Ned indicated a few minutes ago, we may see some real aggressive driving here in the next few moments, unless the track gets real slick.
Well, the caution is out in this corner up here, Bob. I don't know if that's
it is overall.
Full of course caution, apparently will be. They'll race hard back to that caution, Bob, because this might be their last chance.
This could be the end of the race. You see the yellow flags being displayed by the corner workers, but it is waving also from the starter stand, indicating an overall caution. We're watching the battle for second place. Look at Mark Martin get right up on and here comes Ernie Irvin about to take third. He does take third from Mark Martin. Now he's going to try to get second away from Morgan Shepherd. Kyle Petty, meanwhile, is the leader of the race. He comes off of corner number 11 and takes the caution flag. Irvin trying desperately to get second, and he does not. Morgan Shepherd second right now. Ernie Irvin, then Mark Martin and Wally Dallenbach as the cars hammer down for turn 1, having taken the caution flag.
Did Mark Martin have his hands full trying to get back by Ernie Irvin? Boy, oh boy, what a great shot from inside his car. And it quit raining, Bob. Just the latest the latest weather update, it quit raining.
Well, I don't think it has here on the main straightaway. It's still racing. Here's the replay now. Watch Ernie.
He's on the outside of Morgan Shepherd, not where you want to be. But now he needs to get back to the inside, which he does. Makes Mark Martin run over the curb. He said, okay, now I'll try to get Morgan. Says, I'm doing Mark. Hey, I'll tell you what, that's rain up there coming up behind these cars, isn't it? That's water.
Yeah, it was very wet coming off of there, I'll tell you. They did a great job of driving so that we didn't see a big mess there.
He really did do a nice job saving that car, because he would have tagged the wall a little bit more. There's Kyle Petty leading. You watch the field go by. Now, this is really the same as a field summary, as you can see where your favorite driver is. We lock down the camera here and watch the field go by. There's Dale Jarrett and Harry Gant.
And Davey Allison's car driven by Dorsey Schroeder way back there.
About 20, I'd say that's about 23rd or somewhere in that neighborhood.
Let's go down to John Kernan, who's with Robin Pemberton.
Robin, a smoking pit stop on that caution period back there, less than 21 seconds. You guys are doing it just a little bit differently than everyone else. Is that how did you come out with that idea?
The guys in the shop, they've been doing some thinking. I let them do that every now and then, and they've come up with a few different ideas to try. We did it in honor of the Olympics. You know, you got the Fosbury flop and all that stuff. You know, I mean, this is a little bit different twist for us. Seems to work pretty well. You know, it's hard for crews to come here because you pit in a different way, and it's hard to get acclimated to the situation with only doing 2 or 3 stops. So we put a little twist in it.
Obviously, it did very well. The car also working very well. Kyle has said that it's not his driving ability out there. It's the car that you put underneath him. But you told me that, well, the driver ability and car have a lot to do with it.
Now, Kyle's pretty underrated, and he doesn't take any credit. He does an excellent job, and he deserves a lot of the credit. We came up here and tested last week for a couple days, and a lot of driver motor deals really good right now. John's done a great job with the engine, so it's just a good thing, you know.
As we're waiting for them to come back across to the start-finish line under caution, we look up to see all these dark clouds. Past the halfway point, you all may have pulled something off.
Well, we've had a cloud overhead most of the year, so maybe this is the one that we welcome, you know. If we could ever get lucky, this would be the time. We've had a lot of misfortunes this year. We've run real well, and the last 8 or 10 weeks have really turned around for us. Hopefully this will turn out our way.
Maybe, Bob, they've just found one of those dark clouds with a silver lining, possibly.
Very, very possibly, because the track is very wet. And look, the tarps have also been brought out by the pit crews trying to keep their pit areas dry, but the track is wet. Now, this is how it looked from Mark Martin's perspective as he and Ernie Irvin and Morgan Shepherd battle for position. Watch him come off corner 11 and get way sideways.
Laying that gas pedal, trying to keep that car straight and trying to beat Ernie Irvin to the line. all at the same time.
Jerry Punch has a comment on Kyle Petty.
I think what makes Kyle's achievement even more amazing today is you got to remember, guys, only the second time in 4 years he's raced here. 89, he ran a limited schedule, did not run Watkins Glen. In 1990, he raced here. In 91, he was hurt, didn't come to Watkins Glen, so he hasn't been here in 2 years. And to do what he did this weekend, qualify on the front row and lead this race in rather inclement conditions, I tell you, he's got my vote.
In the last 5 races, Kyle has 4 top 10s and has moved to 11th. Only 10 points out of the top 10 in NASCAR Winston Cup points. We are under caution, not because of an accident or debris on the racetrack, but Mother Nature has once again opened up and dropped a little bit of rain on Watkins Glen International. Back with more after this.
Only 9 men have captured the richest and most grueling prize in the history of racing. Only 9 have charged with the courage to capture the crown. The champions, the heroes of Winston Cup racing, are presented in the official poster edition of the 20th anniversary of Winston Motorsports. It's an offer unlike any other in the history of the sport. Your commemorative poster edition, beautifully illustrated, spans the entire history of the Winston Cup Championship from Petty in 71 to Earnhardt in 91. Each poster highlights the driver's hard-charging career and comes complete with a gold-embossed signature. Serial numbered and registered in your name, each set includes a bonus poster of all 9 champions. To order, call 1-800-621-3100. Your 10-piece commemorative edition is just $59.95, or 3 easy payments of just $21. Fans, call now. 1-800-621-3100.
Winston Cup racing has been one heck of a ride.
Have you seen who's been on Speed Week? Speed Week starts off the Thunder every Saturday night. Catch us this week at 7:30 Eastern for the latest in motorsports.
You've got the need for Speed Week.
When Darrell Waltrip needs tires, he needs the right tires, and he needs them fast.
And when you need tires, see the tire team at Western Auto. We've got major brands and over 26 tire lines to fit your car, van, or light truck. Right, Junior?
Right, DW.
And we got the right price, backed by our free ride guarantee. Right, Rusty?
Right, DW. When you buy tires from Western Auto, try them for 30 days or 1,000 miles. If you're not satisfied, they'll exchange them.
That's why I take our car to Western Auto. Right, Dad? Wrong, DW.
Stevie takes your car to Western Auto.
Welcome back to Watkins Glen International, the Budweiser at the Glen NASCAR Winston Cup race, which is still under caution because of a wet racetrack. I don't think it's raining here on the main straightaway anymore, but there are portions of the track that are wet, including this area here off of corner number 11.
You know, if Elmo Langley would turn the wipers off on the pace car, it would make me feel a whole lot better.
I have a feeling it's still raining in portions of the track that is...
Well, he probably don't need the wipers anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, he needs them over in this portion of the track.
Oh, excuse me.
Because it's raining not real hard, but there are raindrops falling over here.
Boy, this has been some day, hasn't it? We came on the air at 1 o'clock today, and about 10 minutes before 1, it started to rain. And the crowd stayed here and was very patient. We got the cars on the track once, just about started, but it started to rain again. We dried the track. We've gotten the race started now, and we have completed more than half the distance, but it's raining again. But still, the fans are here, despite the fact that they're in their rain slickers and carrying their umbrellas. They're hanging right in there.
You know, the worst part about it is all the rain hasn't even been a good shower. And it really hasn't rained that hard.
Yep. Well, let's take a look at our Western Auto race recap. Kyle Petty has led 14 of the 46 laps. We've had 2 cautions for a total of 8 laps. There are 26 cars on the lead lap, 4 leaders, 6 lead changes, and the average speed 93.87 miles an hour. Those that have led a lap include the pole sitter Dale Earnhardt, Kyle Petty, Ernie Irvan, and Dick Trickle under caution. Those out of the race, James Hilton, Danny Wilson, Derek Cope, Todd Bodine, crashing, not injured, and Michael Waltrip. The standings in the Western Auto Mechanic of the Year race. Tim Brewer from Bill Elliott's team is on top by 3 points over Tony Glover from Ernie Irvan's crew. Donnie Richardson is tied with Tony for second. In fourth is Larry McReynolds from the Haviland Ford Davey Allison team. And Steve Meal from Mark Martin's car number 6 is fifth in the Mechanic of the Year standings from Western Auto. King Richard Petty shown in 28th position, 1 lap down. He and the other drivers circulate around this track, hoping it will dry and hoping we can get back to some more green flag racing. But at the moment, the track is wet and Kyle Petty is your leader.
Today, performance cars come in a variety of designs, sizes, and even prices. So do Goodyear Eagles, the world's most successful line of performance tires. There are all-season Goodyear Eagles, new ultra-performance Goodyear Eagles. There are Goodyear Eagles for the classic and for the contemporary. No matter what performance car you own, there's a Goodyear Eagle priced for you. It's another reason we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
The performance of a Chevrolet is determined by many factors. We consider volumetric efficiency, coefficient of drag, yaw damping, polar moments of inertia, induction velocity, camber, caster, bounce, rebound, thermodynamic load, slip angles, linkage arrangements. And at Chevrolet, we also take into account the yeehaw factor.
The cars more people depend on.
I drive a race car for a living. I depend on the parts and pieces in my car. And I feel so confident knowing that Pennzoil is protecting the moving parts inside of my engine. Pennzoil's quality and protection give me the confidence I need to do my job without second thought. The protection that Pennzoil offers this race team makes us feel great. That's why I have the confidence to use it on the street and in my race car. I recommend Pennzoil to everybody. Pennzoil, performance, protection, quality.
Folks in these parts think Tom Lawton is the best thing to ever turn a wrench. But back east, they'll put their money down on the guys at McClellan's. It seems in every town there's always one place that does a little bit better job fixing your car. And it seems the things they all have in common are great mechanics, great service, and Napa parts. Look for the sign of quality car repair. Napa.
NASCAR Winston Cup Racing, the Budweiser at the Glen from Watkins, Glen, New York, live here on ESPN. Still raining in some portions of the racetrack, and you begin to wonder at this point when and if they will display the red flag because quite damp in some sections of the race course. Let's go down to Jerry Punch, who's in Ernie Irvin's pit.
Guys, a bit of humor down here. You know, when they realized it was starting to rain and probably the caution was going to come out the next lap by, Tony Glover, who's the crew chief on Ernie Irvin, knew that Ernie would probably just get wild with that steering wheel, which is exactly what he did. But he told him, he said, hey, calm down, take it easy. There's 30 cars behind you in the lead lap. If you get off this race course, we'll finish 34th. I'd rather finish 4th than way back there. Well, Ernie was all over the racetrack, passing people right and left. And when they saw him come out of turn 11, he had passed and made a couple more passes. And Tony said, well, you see how well he listens to me.
Ernie Irvin third in the lineup as we remain under caution. Now, in terms of Winston Cup points, Ned, looks to me like that Bill Elliott, if the race were to end the way the standings are right now, would take back the points lead. Isn't that the way you got it figured?
Yes, he would, Bob. I could have him in 14th position at the moment, and Dorsey Schrader relieving for Davey Allison. I see him in 20th position, so he definitely would take over the point lead.
Wouldn't be much of a separation, but again, Elliott will have a slight advantage coming out of this race if the race were to end right now and the standings would stay as they are right now. And it's raining here on the main straightaway now.
Yeah, all the fans in this grandstand are heading for cover, so it must be raining down here. I'm high and dry myself, but must be raining.
We had a hard shower. It's still raining here, but we had a hard shower while we were away on the commercial break. It has lightened up just a little bit, but still raining, and many of the fans over here are beginning to hunt for shelter as well.
All right, let's show you a field summary now from Fram, showing you where they are at the moment, so that if we do get a red flag in the next few laps, you will know where your driver finished. I think I was just mentioning this morning on the way to the racetrack how we have been very lucky at ESPN in terms of rainouts. The last rainout that we had, complete washout, was in Talladega a year ago last May, but this has been one of the longest races and days that I've spent in quite a few months or years.
And actually, it's one of the shortest races, mileage-wise, that we have.
Well, we were positioned to go on the air at, what, 12 o'clock?
1, yeah.
And it's now
Almost 6.
Almost 6. So I've been sitting here 6 hours waiting on something to happen.
My plane leaves in 35 minutes, so Benny, you'd have nothing to complain about because you've been eating and signing autographs and schmoozing with the fans, haven't you?
Well, yeah, but I mean, what's somebody to do? I just can't sit here and watch it rain forever. I got to get down with the fans, and boy, they are leaving now.
Yeah, I can see it raining really hard here on the main straightaway now. I just have a feeling that it isn't going to be long before there is a decision.
Well, it's gotten to the point now, Bob, and it's still raining. It's picked up again back here, raining pretty hard. It's gotten to the point now, as late as it is in the day, we aren't going to get into sunshine. And it took a long time to dry this track when we had a little bit of sunshine, but it would take a long, long time. I doubt if they could get this track dry before dark if it stopped raining right now.
I don't think so, because it's taken an hour under ideal circumstances, and because we're in the month of August, the sun is going to set before we could get this racetrack dried. So we wait patiently to see what is going to happen. Right now, the yellow flag is the one that is out, no red, so the race is not over at this point. We'll come back with more from Watkins Glen.
All of these championship-winning drivers have one thing in common: Goodyear Racing Eagles. The race-winning technology that's found in the Goodyear Racing Eagles can also be found in the world's best-selling line of high-performance street tires, Goodyear Eagle Street Radials. The champions know, and it's why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
I feel it makes a very big difference to have the right oil in your automobile. You've made an investment in an automobile, so you should use a quality lubricant to protect that. I would recommend Pennzoil to anyone. The same quality Pennzoil that goes into this race car, you can also use and buy right off the shelf and put in your own automobile to drive on the street. Pennzoil is the only product I've ever used. The investment I've made in my automobile is going to be worthwhile because of Pennzoil's protection. Pennzoil, performance, protection, and quality.
Around 1900, GMC Truck built America's first gasoline-powered truck and went on to make trucks our only business. A heritage of trucks that some say worked a little harder, lasted a little longer. And that's still true today in a truck that gives you the most standard payload and the strongest resale of any full-size pickup. Sierra from GMC Truck, more proof of the strength of experience.
The Budweiser at the Glen NASCAR Winston Cup race has been red flagged once again. The cars are being pulled into the pit area. No checkered flag, so the race isn't officially over yet, but it continues to rain rather hard here at Watkins Glen. Our Speed World coverage being brought to you by GMC Trucks, the strength of experience. By Pennzoil, America's #1 selling motor oil for performance, protection, and quality. And by Goodyear, #1 in tires. There's the story. The field has come into the pit area and the cars have been stopped. The tarps are going on and the race is once again under a red flag condition. 51 laps have been completed. John Kernan is with Kyle Petty.
Got to be a tough way to spend a few minutes waiting for the rain. You're past the halfway, you're leading the race.
Yeah, we were where we wanted to be, but it's sprinkling. It's just not raining hard enough. But you know, it's getting late, and you know, you take them any way you can get it. But we were running really good. You know, I think we had a good car. Ernie had a good car. I think Mark had a good car and was coming up through there. He just kept getting caught back in traffic. And it's just one of those deals where if we get to go racing again, at least I know who I'm going to have to be racing now. Before, when we waited on the rain, you never knew who you was going to have to race.
Kyle, I'm getting a message now that we're not going back green. Is that right, guys?
No, I don't know about that. You know more about things like that.
Okay, what we're hearing right now, Kyle, is that you're the winner of the race. Congratulations.
I'd take it and go to the house, but I got to go from a higher authority than you.
Hey, come on now. Are you guys sandbagging me or what?
Oh, you don't believe us, huh, Kyle?
Wait
well, we have...
What's the flag saying, Kyle?
We have
yeah, they got it. It's been confirmed, Kyle. Now,
okay.
Now you got the higher authority.
I guess so, man. And I tell you, you know, we run really good. But and I owe it all to Robin Pemberton and John Wilson. Them guys, we had a great motor. If you saw it on TV and watched your car run up the backstretch, you saw how good it handled through the S's and how fast it was down the backstretch. All I had to do was keep it between the ditches the other times. So, you know, it was just, we were lucky today. And, you know, I was prayed before the race started, but I prayed the last 10 or 15 laps that we'd make it to halfway and be leading. And I think the good Lord answered our prayers today.
Well, I hope you guys aren't sandbagging us because Kyle's a pretty happy guy right now.
No, I think, John, we can officially call that the Kodak Gold Film Winner's Circle interview, although it kind of snuck up on us and you. But while you were conducting your interview initially with him, they did make the decision that it should be, in addition to the red flag, a checkered flag, indicating that the race is over, ending just past the halfway point. We completed 51 laps of this event out of 90, and Kyle Petty is the winner of the Budweiser at the Glen. There were 6 guys coming into this race who had not won in 92 that had in 91. Kyle was one of them. Jerry Punch is with Ernie Irvan.
And Bob, moments ago, Felix Sabatos, the car winner for Kyle Petty, came by to congratulate Ernie Irvan, and now Kyle Petty comes by to congratulate Ernie on an outstanding effort as they congratulate each other. And Ernie, you knew the rain was coming, the caution was coming out, and you made some unbelievable moves.
Well, you know, it's really more accident than anything. Morgan Shepherd only got left side tires, and he was holding us up pretty bad. And Mark went flying in underneath them or behind him, and I didn't know they were slowing up so fast. So I just thought it was a evasive move more than anything. And luckily we didn't all wreck right then. But you know, congratulations to Kyle. You know, it's not given to him. He did one heck of a job, and had a fast race car today.
Ernie Irvan finishes in 3rd spot, and the man who finished in 2nd, got to be smiling. He's with John Kernan.
Indeed, Morgan Shepherd, a big smile, as big a smile as Morgan allows himself to have. Now, Morgan, you kind of snuck up on everybody. You say it was the pit work. Can you tell us about the pit stops?
Well, I didn't really sneak up on them, you know. These Woods boys just made it easy for me. They got me in and out of the pits. You know, we've been being a little bit behind this year in a couple of areas, and a couple of them was chassis on the racetracks. I've been missing it some and been off a little bit in the pits. But I'm telling you, if I can get the chassis working the way these Woods boys was making the gains in the pits, they just made it easy for me today. And I'd like to say hi to Fran. Hope you're getting well, darling, and get back to see some races. See you, Larry.
That's Morgan Shepherd. And by the way, that last pit stop, not 2 tires. Morgan took on 4 tires.
Robin Pemberton has been named the mechanic of the race from Western Auto. So congratulations to Robin. Kyle Petty, the winner here at Watkins Glen.
Which publication tells you about hundreds of great jobs open across the country right now? High-paying professional, managerial, and technical jobs. The National Business Employment Weekly. Which publication helps you land one of those jobs with articles on how to sharpen your resume, how to shine in interviews, how to market yourself. The National Business Employment Weekly. Which publication helps you do better after you land a great job? Get along with your boss, get a raise, get promoted. The National Business Employment Weekly, published by the Wall Street Journal. It's all you need besides your own ability to land and do well in the kind of job you've been looking for in a part of the country you'll enjoy at a salary you can be proud of. It's all you need. Get the National Business Employment Weekly at your newsstand or order by credit card and get 8 issues by first-class mail for $35. Call 800-372-3000. 800-372-3000. The National Business Employment Weekly. Don't make a career move without it.
NASCAR Budweiser at the Glen over, called early because of rain. Here is the full field rundown. As you see that Kyle Petty was the winner, followed by Shepherd, Irvan, Mark Martin, and Wally Dallenbach finishes in 5th position. While we watch the full field rundown, we'll get the comments from Ned and Benny. Benny, it was kind of a weird day, wasn't it?
About the weirdest day I think I've ever seen in my life. I'll tell you what. It looked like it was going to rain the thing out, looked like it was going to be okay, and then all of a sudden here comes another cloud. It ends the day. But the guys did pretty good down in turn 1. A lot of passing was done down here and not too many spinouts.
And Ned, I think the same could be said about the real question mark that everybody had about this new racetrack, and that is the inner loop.
I think it was a pleasant surprise, Bob, that we didn't see any more action than we did. No spinouts at all in the new loop, and just a few, fender bangers, nothing very serious there. They adapted to it very, very well.
So the inner loop passes with flying colors, although it was a race that was called early because of rain. Delayed for a long time because of rain and finally called because of rain. There is the winner, Kyle Petty. Now, as far as points are concerned, Bill Elliott does indeed take back the Winston Cup points lead. He has a 17-point advantage on Davey Allison, with Alan Kulwicki in third, Harry Gant fourth, and Mark Martin in fifth position. Now, with this win, Kyle Petty does move into 10th position in the point standing. So as we head to Michigan International next Sunday, Bill Elliott will have the points lead once again from Davey Allison. Don't forget, we have the Digital Seniors Classic coming up, and next Sunday afternoon, the Champion Spark Plug 400 from Michigan International Speedway, where the defending champion is Dale Jarrett. My thanks to Benny Parsons.